and usually when you close one door, another door opens. And I'm going to quote Aristotle, and I found this on the internet, so it may not be Aristotle. It could have been some anonymous person, teenager. But it's a really cool quote. He says, Aristotle says, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it." Which is really weird because for me, I can't generalize for everyone, as a Christian, it was like, if I entertained a thought, that means I had to accept it to some extent, meaning it was my belief. But now it's kind of like, hey, I can think about these other sort of ways of perspectives of the origins of things, or family, or religion, or God, or without necessarily being married to it. And one day, one of my mentors and professors, she actually recently died, Denise Tomases, she actually visited my studio, and my work wasn't progressing at all, and she's like, you need to start being ambitious and not worrying about what people want you to do. So she just encouraged me to be ambitious, sort of acknowledge this sort of like cartoon aesthetic that I'm sort of like, I tend to gravitate to. And she's like, just develop your visual vernacular, just build it and do your thing. So I did. And one day I discovered this trickster character or mythology. A few references for like books. There's Lewis Hyde, The Trickster Makes This World, and Wu Ching-ing, it's a folk novel of China called Monkey, which has a sort of like trickster monkey character. But and I'm gonna quote again because I don't want to misquote anyone. A guy named Joseph Campbell, in one of his videos that I saw, he states, "It is a great puzzler to well-trained Christians that actually come across the trickster hero, because he's both a kind of a devil and a fool, and the creator of the world." So he comes in as an upsetting factor. He breaks through. He even breaks the notion of what a deity ought to be. You have a deity coming through as a trickster, as a destroyer, as a disruptor of programs, which I totally needed, just leading my Christian faith. And I was like, yeah, I need this sort of rebellious guy thing, not in my life, but I like that idea because I can kind of relate to it. And I'll keep reading. The trickster crosses boundaries and also creates them. Lewis Hyde explains in his book, The Trickster Makes This World, that the trickster breaks distinctions between right and wrong, sacred and profane, clean and dirty, male and female, young and old, living and dead. David Leeming writes The World of the Myth, an anthology, that he is sexually overactive, irresponsible, and amoral. Things I can definitely relate to. And Paul Ryden explains that the trickster, a study in American Indian mythology, that he wills nothing consciously. At all times he is constrained to behave as he does from impulses over which he has no control. He knows neither good nor evil, yet he is responsible for both. So I obviously fell in love with this sort of like mythology of this non-deity. He's not right or wrong, he's kind of gray off to the side. And I'm like, this is like really heavy. Like, this is like really like deep stuff. Like, how do I paint this? like, what am I gonna do with this information as an artist, as a painter? Like, my head exploded. Like, this new character that came up out of nowhere. And I just sort of started drawing, and this sort of monk puppy character came up. And it was definitely inspired by my stepmom's Chihuahua. It's a long story, but inspired by my stepmom's Chihuahua. And I was like, I gotta draw this dog because it keeps bothering me, and I'm reading this trickster thing, so I gotta combine it. So I created this sort of, my own sort of icon or iconoclast image.